Victoria Hayes hurled her phone across the penthouse. It shattered against the $40,000 painting she'd bought last month. 53 messages, all work. Not one person asking if she was okay on Christmas Eve. She was 32, worth $60 million, and completely invisible to everyone who wasn't trying to take something from her. What she didn't know was that in 45 minutes, a man counting quarters at a diner counter would tear down every wall she'd spent 15 years building. And a 6-year-old girl with a missing front tooth would hand her a stuffed unicorn and say 7 words that would change everything. Comment below what city you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. The glass didn't break the way Victoria expected. It bounced off the painting first, leaving a scratch across some abstract artist's vision of corporate transcendence, then hit the marble floor and exploded into 1,000 tiny pieces that scattered across her pristine penthouse like stars falling to earth. She stood there breathing hard, her $300 manicure curled into fists at her sides. "Damn it!" The word echoed in the silence. Nobody heard it. Nobody ever heard anything in this place. Victoria walked to the bar, her Louboutin heels clicking against marble that cost more than most people's cars. She poured another glass of wine. French. Expensive. The kind that came with certificates and stories about the vineyard and the family who'd made it for 7 generations. It tasted like nothing. Her reflection stared back at her from the floor-to-ceiling windows. Blonde hair perfectly styled. Designer dress that hugged her frame like it was sewn onto her body. Diamond earrings that caught the light from the city below. She looked like a magazine cover. She felt like a corpse. "Merry Christmas to me," she whispered, and the words came out bitter, sharp wrong. Below her windows, the city sparkled with Christmas lights. She could see families moving through the streets bundled against the cold, heading somewhere warm. Heading home. Home. When was the last time that word meant anything to her? Her backup phone buzzed on the counter. She'd forgotten she had it. Rick, her CFO, had insisted she keep one for emergencies. She picked it up. 14 new emails in the last hour alone. Board meeting rescheduled to December 27th. Q4 projections need your approval. Investor call at 9 a.m. sharp. Don't forget the Beijing presentation. Delete. 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 Then one text buried under the avalanche from 3 days ago. Her college roommate Sarah. "Hey V. Christmas party at my place. Just friends, no pressure. Would love to see you. It's been 2 years. Victoria had responded the same way she always did. "Can't. Work. But thank you." Sarah hadn't replied. Why would she? How many times can you reach out to someone before you realize they don't want to be reached? Victoria set down the phone and walked to the Christmas tree in the corner. It was perfect. 8 feet tall. Norwegian spruce delivered by a service that specialized in executive holiday decor. Every ornament was silver and white, professionally placed for maximum aesthetic impact. The lights were LED programmed to twinkle at precisely calibrated intervals. It looked like something from Architectural Digest. It felt like a prop in a museum exhibit about loneliness. She touched one of the ornaments, cold, lifeless, like everything else in this penthouse. A memory hit her without warning, so vivid it made her stumble backward. 15 years ago, their old house in Connecticut. A tree that was too big for the living room wedged into the corner at an angle because her dad had refused to trim it. "It's perfect, Vicky. Nature doesn't need to be trimmed." Her mother laughing hanging ornaments they'd collected from every vacation. The painted seashell from Cape Cod. The tiny Eiffel Tower from Paris. The ceramic angel Victoria had made in 3rd grade, lopsided and cracked but treasured. Her father lifting her up to place the star on top. "Make a wish, sweetheart." "What should I wish for Daddy?" "Whatever matters most to you." She'd closed her eyes tight. 7-year-old Victoria believing in magic. "I wish we could be together forever." Victoria's wine glass was shaking in her hand. She set it down before she dropped it. Forever had lasted exactly 10 more years. Christmas night when she was 17. Her parents had cut their business trip short to surprise her driving through a snowstorm to make it home by morning. Black ice. A guardrail that didn't hold. They found the car at the bottom of a ravine on December 26th. The police officer who came to her grandmother's door had snow in his hair. Victoria remembered that detail with crystal clarity. The snow melting on his shoulders as he said words that didn't make sense. Accident. Ice. Instant. Didn't suffer. Her grandmother had collapsed. Victoria had stood perfectly still, feeling something inside her snap like a branch under too much weight. She never cried. Not at the funeral. Not when they sold the house. Not when she packed away those ornaments in boxes she'd never open again. Instead, she made a decision. Love is dangerous. Attachment is weakness. If you let people in, they leave. They die. They destroy you. But work. Work is safe. Work is logical. Work can't abandon you in the middle of the night. She threw herself into school. Perfect grades. Perfect applications. Stanford undergraduate, Harvard MBA. She built next-gen dynamics from nothing, coding the first algorithms herself in a studio apartment that smelled like ramen and ambition. 10 years later, she was worth $60 million on paper. And she was standing alone in a penthouse on Christmas Eve, throwing phones at paintings because nobody in the world cared if she was alive or dead. Victoria grabbed her coat. She couldn't stay here. Not tonight. Not with 15 years of ghosts pressing against her chest and the silence screaming louder than any boardroom. She rode the elevator down 47 floors. The doorman, George, looked up from his desk with surprise. "Ms. Hayes going out this late?" "Just need some air, George." "It's cold out there. Snow coming down pretty good." She paused at the door. George had worked in this building for 12 years. She'd walked past him thousands of times. She suddenly realized she had no idea if he had a family. Kids. A wife waiting for him to come home. "George." "Yes, ma'am." Are you spending Christmas with anyone?" His face softened. "My daughter and her kids are coming over tomorrow morning. Little ones get up at 5 to open presents. Drives their mama crazy." Victoria felt something twist in her chest. "That sounds nice." "It is, ma'am. It really is." He paused, studying her face with more perception than she was comfortable with. "You okay, Ms. Hayes? You seem a little—" "I'm fine. Merry Christmas, George." "Merry Christmas, ma'am." The cold hit her like a slap. Snow was falling in thick, lazy flakes, transforming the city into something from a postcard. Every streetlight wore a halo. Every window glowed with warmth. Victoria walked with no destination, just movement, just the need to be somewhere that wasn't that silent penthouse. She passed a brownstone with a bay window. Inside, a father was helping his daughter hang stockings on a fireplace mantel. The girl looked about 6, standing on a step stool, tongue poking out in concentration. Victoria stopped walking. The father said something. The girl laughed. He swooped her up onto his shoulders, and she placed the last stocking with careful precision. "Make a wish, sweetheart." Victoria turned away so fast she almost slipped on the icy sidewalk. She kept walking. Faster now. Head down. Shoulders hunched against the cold that had nothing to do with temperature. 2 blocks, 3, 4. She passed a church with its doors open, light and music spilling out. A homeless man sat on the steps, and a woman in a red coat was handing him a cup of something hot. He looked up at her with such gratitude that Victoria had to look away. What's wrong with me? Why does kindness feel like an accusation? She walked until her feet ached in her expensive heels, until her face was numb, until the tears she refused to acknowledge had frozen on her cheeks. And then she saw it. The Golden Spoon. A diner with steamed windows and a neon sign that flickered slightly. The kind of place she'd never normally enter. Too small. Too ordinary. Too real. But through the glass she could see warmth and light and people who weren't alone. Just for coffee, she told herself. just to be around humans for a little while. She pushed through the door. The bell above her head jingled cheerful and out of place with her mood. The diner smelled like coffee and bacon grease and something sweet from the pie case. Christmas music played from speakers mounted above the counter, some old Bing Crosby song competing with the hiss of the espresso machine. Victoria stood in the doorway, suddenly aware of how ridiculous she looked. Her coat was Burberry. Her dress was Valentino. Her shoes were Louboutin, and her watch was Cartier. She might as well have worn a neon sign flashing, "Not from here." A waitress behind the counter looked up. Tired eyes. Warm smile name tag reading Donna. "Just you, hon?" Victoria flinched at the question, the emphasis on just. "Yes, just coffee, please." "Take any seat you like. It's not exactly packed tonight." Victoria slid onto a stool at the counter, grateful to turn her back on the few other customers. An elderly man in a corner booth with his newspaper. A young couple whispering over shared French fries. A tired-looking woman with two kids who were fighting over crayons. Donna set down a white ceramic mug and poured coffee without asking how Victoria wanted it. "Cream and sugar's right there, hon. Kitchen's still open if you change your mind about food." "Thank you." Victoria wrapped her hands around the mug, letting the warmth seep into her frozen fingers. When was the last time she'd held something warm just for comfort? The bell above the door jingled again. She looked up out of habit. A man stepped inside. Early 30s, brown hair dusted with snow, hazel eyes that crinkled at the corners, like someone who smiled a lot, even when life gave him nothing to smile about. His coat was clean, but worn the kind of coat you keep for years, because buying a new one isn't really an option. A little girl was tucked against his side, holding his hand with both of hers. She was shivering despite her puffy pink jacket, her breath still visible in little clouds. The girl's eyes went wide when she saw the Christmas lights strung around the diner. "Daddy, look!" She pointed with mittened hands. "They have Christmas here, too." The man smiled, and something in Victoria's chest shifted unexpectedly. "Sure they do, sweetheart. Christmas is everywhere tonight. Even here. Especially here. This is a special place." "How do you know?" "Because we found it together. That makes it special." The girl beamed at this logic, showing the gap where her front tooth used to be. She was maybe 6 with curly brown hair escaping from beneath a knit cap decorated with pom-poms. Her sneakers had sequins on them, half fallen off from wear, but she walked like a princess who didn't know her crown was crooked. They settled onto stools 2 down from Victoria. "Can I get hot chocolate, Daddy, please?" "Let me see what I've got, Lily." Victoria watched from the corner of her eye as he pulled out his wallet. His expression shifted, jaw tightening, shoulders dropping slightly. He was counting quarters. She watched his hands move through the coins. Dimes. Nickels. A few crumpled dollar bills smoothed flat with desperate care. Not enough. She could see it in the way his hands stilled the way he swallowed hard before smoothing his face into something neutral for his daughter's sake. Donna appeared with her order pad. "What can I get you folks?" The man hesitated. Victoria could see him calculating, making choices no father should have to make on Christmas Eve. "Just hot chocolate for my daughter, please, and maybe some toast." "That all? That's all we need tonight." Donna's expression softened slightly. She'd seen this before. She knew what she was looking at. Lily tugged on her father's sleeve. "Aren't you hungry, Daddy?" "I'm fine, sweetheart." "But you didn't eat lunch." "Lily. Or breakfast. You always say breakfast is important." The man's face flushed. His hand shook slightly as he set the money on the counter. $4.73 in mixed change. Around them, the diner had gone quiet. Other customers, trying not to stare, trying not to witness this moment of private struggle, made public. Something cracked open in Victoria's chest. She was sitting here in a $2,000 coat, drowning in champagne and loneliness by choice by her own design. Because she'd decided walls were safer than windows. This man was counting quarters to buy his daughter toast on Christmas Eve. Her hand moved before her brain could engage. "Excuse me." The man turned surprised. "Whatever they order," Victoria said, addressing Donna, but keeping her eyes on the man. "Put it on my bill, and add full meals for both of them, please." The man stared at her. That's very kind, but we're okay. Are you—" The question came out sharper than she intended. She softened her voice. "I'm sorry. That wasn't fair." She took a breath. "Look, I'm sitting here alone on Christmas Eve, and buying you both dinner would make me feel less pathetic about that. So really, you'd be doing me a favor." The man studied her face, looking for the catch, the pity, the judgment, whatever he usually found when people noticed his circumstances. Victoria made sure he didn't find any of it. Just honesty, just one lonely person reaching out to another. Lily tugged on his sleeve, whispering something Victoria couldn't hear. The girl's face was hopeful, hungry, trusting her father to make the right choice. Finally, he nodded slowly. "Thank you." His voice was rough with something he was trying to hide. "I'm Marcus. This is Lily." "Victoria." Lily waved shyly her mitten, making a soft sound against the counter. "Hi, Miss Victoria." And for the first time in 15 years, Victoria smiled a real smile. "Hi, Lily. What's your favorite thing about Christmas?" The question broke something open. Lily's whole face transformed like someone had flipped a switch, and suddenly all the lights came on at once. Everything, but mostly the magic part. She looked at her father for confirmation. "Right, Daddy. You said Christmas has special magic." "That's right, sweetheart." "What kind of magic?" Victoria found herself asking. Lily thought about this with intense seriousness. "The kind that makes wishes come true, and the kind that helps people find each other when they're lost. Daddy says that's how he found me." Marcus's face did something complicated. Victoria caught it, the flash of pain, the depth of love, the exhaustion of carrying both. "That's right," he said softly. "Best magic I ever experienced." Donna returned with her order pad, a knowing look on her face. "So what'll it be? The real order this time." Marcus glanced at Victoria, still hesitant. "Please," she said. "Order whatever you want. Both of you." "Can I have pancakes?" Lily asked, bouncing on her stool. "The ones with chocolate chips." "You can have anything you want, sweetheart." "And bacon?" "And bacon." "And whipped cream." Marcus laughed, and the sound transformed his whole face, made him look younger, less weighted down. "Don't push your luck." Donna wrote it all down, adding a burger and fries for Marcus without being asked. She'd been in this business long enough to know what a hungry man looked like. While they waited for food, Lily chatted nonstop. About school, about her best friend Sophie, about the snowman they'd built last week that was probably melting now because it got warm yesterday, which is very sad because he was a good snowman. Victoria listened to every word. When was the last time she'd just listened without an agenda? Without calculating what she could get from the conversation, without watching the clock and planning her exit. "Miss Victoria?" She blinked. "Yes." "Why are you eating alone?" Lily's face was open, curious, utterly without judgment. "Don't you got family?" "Lily," Marcus warned gently. "That's personal. It's okay." Victoria surprised herself by being honest. "I don't have family nearby. And I work a lot, so I never really made close friends who'd want to spend holidays with me." Lily's forehead wrinkled as she processed this. "That sounds lonely." 3 words. Simple. True. Devastating. "It is," Victoria admitted. "Sometimes." Lily studied her with that intense focus children bring to important questions. "Daddy gets lonely too, but he says we got each other, so it's okay." She looked at her father. "Right, Daddy." Marcus's ears had turned slightly red. That's right, sweetheart. So, maybe. Lily's face brightened with sudden inspiration. Maybe Miss Victoria could come home with us. Then nobody has to be lonely. Lily, you can't just... But Daddy, you always say nobody should be alone on Christmas. You say it every year. Miss Victoria is alone on Christmas, so she should come home with us. Marcus looked mortified and touched in equal measure. That's very sweet, but Miss Victoria probably has plans. I don't. The words came out before Victoria could think them through. I don't have plans. She repeated quieter this time. I was just going to go back to my apartment, watch TV, go to bed. Lily reached out and patted Victoria's hand with her mittened fingers. That's sad. You should come with us instead. We have a Christmas tree and everything. Victoria looked at Marcus. He was watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. You don't have to, he said carefully. Lily gets enthusiastic, but I don't want you to feel obligated. I don't feel obligated. Then what? Victoria looked at this man with his worn coat, and his counted quarters, and his daughter who gave away invitations to strangers like she was handing out candy. I feel hopeful, for the first time in a very long time. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Our place isn't fancy, he warned. It's small, 1 bedroom. The heat works about 70% of the time. I've had fancy. It's overrated. Lily squealed and threw her arms around Victoria's neck, nearly knocking over the syrup. This is the best Christmas ever. And somewhere deep inside Victoria, in a place she'd locked up 15 years ago and thrown away the key, something began to thaw. The food arrived. Lily attacked her pancakes with focused determination, getting chocolate on her nose and syrup on her chin. Marcus ate like a man who hadn't seen a real meal in days, trying not to look like he was eating, like a man who hadn't seen a real meal in days. Victoria watched them. She watched the way Marcus cut Lily's bacon into smaller pieces without being asked. The way he wiped her face with a napkin, gentle and automatic. The way his whole body relaxed once he saw his daughter eating like some fundamental worry had been temporarily set aside. This is love, she thought. Real love. The kind that shows up in small moments, in practical care, in putting someone else first, without even thinking about it. Her parents had loved her like that. Before the ice. Before the ravine. Before everything ended. Tell Miss Victoria about your art, Marcus said, pulling Victoria back to the present. Lily's eyes lit up. I draw pictures. I'm really good at it. Want to see? Before Victoria could answer, Lily was digging through her father's coat pocket. She produced a folded piece of paper, worn soft at the creases, and smoothed it carefully on the table. It was a crayon drawing. 3 stick figures holding hands. 1 tall with brown hair, 1 small with curly hair, and 1 that had been drawn, erased, and redrawn so many times the paper was thin in that spot. That's me and Daddy, Lily explained, pointing. And that one... She hesitated. That one was supposed to be Mommy. But she left. So I tried to make it Grandma instead. But Grandma died. She said it so matter-of-factly that Victoria almost missed the weight of it. So now that spot is just empty. I keep trying to figure out who should go there. Marcus's jaw had tightened. His hand found Lily's shoulder, squeezed gently. Your grandma passed away last year, he explained quietly. My mom. She helped us after... He trailed off. After Mommy left, Lily finished. It's okay, Daddy. You can say it. Miss Victoria seems nice. She won't be weird about it. Victoria couldn't speak. Her throat had closed completely. This child. This beautiful, resilient, generous child who'd been abandoned by her mother, who'd lost her grandmother, who was spending Christmas Eve in a diner because they couldn't afford to eat at home. This child was trying to comfort her father about his pain. Lily, Victoria finally managed. Your drawing is beautiful. Really? Really? You're very talented. Lily beamed. Daddy says I should be an artist when I grow up. Or maybe a unicorn trainer. I haven't decided yet. Those are both excellent choices. What do you do, Miss Victoria? Victoria hesitated. I run a company, a technology company. What kind of technology? Artificial intelligence. Computer programs that help other computers work better. Lily considered this. Do you like it? The question caught Victoria off guard. I used to, I think. I used to love solving problems, building things, making something out of nothing. And now, Victoria looked down at her coffee cup. Now I'm not sure what I love anymore. I've been so busy working I forgot to ask myself that question. Lily patted her hand again. That's okay. Sometimes people forget stuff. Daddy forgets where he puts his keys all the time. That's different, sweetheart, Marcus said gently. How? Because keys you can find again. Some things. He glanced at Victoria. Some things are harder to get back once you've lost them. Their eyes met across the table. He understood, Victoria realized. Maybe not the specifics, the penthouse, the millions, the Christmas ghosts, but the core of it. The loneliness. The forgetting who you are beneath all the layers you've built to protect yourself. Donna appeared to clear their plates. Anything else for you folks? We've got apple pie fresh this morning. Pie, Lily exclaimed. Can we, Daddy, please? Marcus looked at Victoria. Only if Miss Victoria has some too. One slice, Victoria said. 3 forks. They shared the pie. Lily got more on her face than in her mouth. Marcus told a story about the time Lily tried to bake cookies by herself and set off every smoke alarm in their building. Lily defended herself vigorously, insisting the cookies were just a little crispy. Victoria laughed, a real laugh from somewhere deep in her chest. She couldn't remember the last time she'd done that. It was after 9 when they finally left the diner. Donna had tried to refuse Victoria's card 3 times before finally accepting it with a knowing smile. You take care of each other, she said, looking at all 3 of them. That's what matters on Christmas. Outside, the snow had slowed to gentle flurries. The city was quieter now, most people safely tucked away in warm homes with warm families. Lily grabbed Victoria's hand with one mitten and Marcus's hand with the other. This is how families walk, she announced. Together. Victoria's heart cracked a little wider. Lead the way, sweetheart, Marcus said. They walked through the snow-covered streets, Lily chattering between them, pointing out Christmas lights and ranking houses by decoration quality. Marcus caught Victoria's eye over his daughter's head and smiled, apologetic, grateful, warm. Victoria smiled back, and somewhere in the darkness behind them, the ghost of a 17-year-old girl, standing in a doorway, watching snow melt on a police officer's shoulders, began finally to fade. The apartment building was old, the kind of place that had stories soaked into every brick. Marcus led them up 3 flights of stairs that creaked under their weight, apologizing twice for the elevator being broken. I'm working on it, he said. Parts are expensive. You fix things here. I'm the superintendent. Free rent in exchange for keeping everything running. He smiled, but there was something tight behind it. It's a good deal for us. Lily ran ahead, her footsteps echoing in the stairwell. Don't run, Lily. I'm not running. I'm speed-walking. Marcus shook his head, but the love in his eyes was unmistakable. They reached apartment 3C. Marcus fumbled with his keys, suddenly self-conscious. Like I said, it's not much. Marcus? He stopped, looked at her. I grew up in a house with crooked Christmas trees and mismatched ornaments, and a father who refused to trim the branches because nature doesn't need to be trimmed. Victoria's voice caught slightly. I don't need much. I just need real. He held her gaze for a long moment. Then he nodded and opened the door. Lily had already burst inside. "Welcome to our castle, Miss Victoria." Victoria stepped through the doorway and stopped. It was small, maybe 500 square feet, total living room kitchen, one bedroom, one bathroom. The furniture was worn but clean. The walls needed paint in some spots. The carpet had seen better decades. But there were drawings covering every inch of the refrigerator, held up with alphabet magnets. A stack of library books on the coffee table. A pair of pink rain boots by the door lined up neatly next to larger work boots. And in the corner, a Christmas tree. It was maybe 4 feet tall, slightly crooked, decorated with paper snowflakes and strings of popcorn and ornaments that had clearly been made by small hands. The lights blinked unevenly, some faster than others, creating a rhythm that felt like a heartbeat. "Daddy and I made all the decorations ourselves," Lily said proudly. "The star is made from a cereal box." Victoria walked closer. The star was indeed cut from cardboard painted gold, with what looked like craft paint, and covered in glitter that was shedding onto the branches below. It was the most beautiful thing she'd seen in 15 years. "Lily, why don't you go put on your pajamas while I make hot chocolate?" Marcus said. "The real kind from scratch. The real kind." Lily cheered and ran to the bedroom, already pulling off her coat. Victoria and Marcus stood in the small living room, the space between them suddenly charged with awareness. Two adults who'd met hours ago, standing in an apartment that cost less than Victoria's monthly dry cleaning bill, both trying to figure out what happened next. "You can sit," Marcus said. "Couch is comfortable. I mean, it's old, but it's comfortable." "Thank you." Victoria sat. The cushions sank beneath her soft from years of use. She could smell fabric softener and something else home. That indefinable scent of a place where people actually lived. Marcus moved to the small kitchen, pulling out a pot milk cocoa powder. His movements were practiced, efficient. "You don't have to do this," Victoria said. "I've already imposed enough." "You haven't imposed." He glanced back at her. "Lily invited you, and Lily's usually right about people." "Is she?" "She knew her mom was leaving before I did." The words came out matter of fact, but Victoria caught the edge beneath them. 6 months before Sarah walked out, Lily started sleeping in our bed every night. Said she wanted to be close to us while she could. Victoria didn't know what to say to that. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. It was 3 years ago. We've made our peace with it." "Have you?" Marcus was quiet for a moment, stirring the milk. "Most days. Some days are harder than others." The bedroom door burst open, and Lily emerged in unicorn pajamas, her hair wild from pulling off her hat. "I'm ready for hot chocolate." Marcus smiled. 3 marshmallows. 3 marshmallows. That's the rule. Who made that rule? I did. I'm the hot chocolate boss. Victoria found herself laughing again. Twice in one night. Some kind of record. They sat on the couch together, Lily in the middle, Victoria, and Marcus on either side. Lily held her mug with both hands, blowing on it with exaggerated care. "This is nice," she announced. "Having Miss Victoria here. It makes Christmas feel more Christmassy." "More Christmassy." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "You know what I mean. More full." Victoria's chest ached. "I feel the same way, Lily. Really, really. This is the best Christmas Eve I've had in a very long time." Lily beamed. Then her face grew serious. "Miss Victoria." "Yes." "Why were you crying at the diner? Before we sat down. I saw you crying." Victoria froze. She hadn't realized anyone had noticed. Marcus put a hand on Lily's shoulder. "That's personal, sweetheart. Miss Victoria doesn't have to." "It's okay." Victoria took a breath. "I was crying because I was lonely. And sometimes when you're lonely for a long time, it sneaks up on you, even when you think you're fine." Lily nodded solemnly. "I cried when Grandma died. A lot. Daddy said it was okay to cry. He said tears are just feelings that got too big to stay inside." "Your daddy's very wise." I know. He's the smartest person I know. Except maybe Sophie's mom because she knows all the state capitals, even the hard ones. Marcus laughed, and the tension in the room eased. Okay, wise one. Story time. Then bed. Can Miss Victoria read to us? If she wants to. Lily looked at Victoria with those big eyes so full of hope. Will you please? Victoria's throat tightened. I would love to. Lily scrambled off the couch and ran to a small bookshelf crammed with picture books and chapter books and worn paperbacks. She selected one with grave importance and brought it back, placing it in Victoria's hands like an offering. The Night Before Christmas. The cover was soft from years of handling. The spine cracked, some of the pages coming loose. This was Grandma's favorite, Lily said quietly. She read it to us every Christmas Eve. Victoria looked at Marcus. His expression was complicated grief and love and something that might have been hope, all tangled together. Are you sure you want me to read it? Victoria asked softly. I don't want to intrude on something special. Grandma said stories are meant to be shared, Lily said firmly. She said that's how we keep people with us, by telling their stories. Victoria opened the book. Her hands were trembling. 'Twas the night before Christmas. She began, her voice cracking on the first words, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. She read slowly, carefully, giving each word the weight it deserved. Lily snuggled against her side, warm and trusting. Marcus sat on Lily's other side, his presence solid and real. By the time she reached Happy Christmas to all and to all a good night, Lily's eyes were drooping. Marcus lifted his daughter gently. Bedtime, princess. But Miss Victoria, we'll be here when you wake up. Marcus glanced at Victoria. If she wants to stay. I want to stay, Victoria said. I'll be right here. Lily smiled sleepily. Promise. Promise. Marcus carried her to the bedroom. Victoria could hear their quiet conversation through the thin walls. Is Miss Victoria going to stay forever? I don't know, sweetheart, but she's staying tonight. I like her, Daddy. She's sad like you used to be, but she's nice anyway. She is nice. Maybe we can make her not sad anymore, like you got not sad. Maybe we can. Now sleep. I love you, Daddy. I love you more, Lilybug. Marcus returned a few minutes later, holding 2 mugs of tea. He sat on the couch, leaving careful space between them. Thank you for reading to her. That book. It means a lot. Thank you for letting me. They sat in silence, sipping tea, the Christmas tree lights blinking in the corner. Can I ask you something? Marcus said finally. Anything. Why were you really at that diner tonight? A woman like you. A woman like me. You know what I mean? The coat, the shoes. You could have been anywhere. Fancy restaurant, country club, whatever rich people do on Christmas Eve. He said it without judgment, just curiosity. But you were alone at a diner, and you'd been crying. Victoria stared into her tea. My parents died when I was 17. Car accident. Christmas night. Marcus's breath caught. Victoria. I'm so sorry. They were driving home from a business trip. Cut it short to surprise me. There was ice, black ice. You can't see it coming. She set down her mug, her hands unsteady. After they died, I made a decision. I decided that love was dangerous, that if you let people in, they leave, they die. They hurt you in ways you never recover from. So you stopped letting people in. I built walls. I built a company. I built a life that looked perfect from the outside and felt like nothing on the inside. She looked at him. I spent 15 years being successful and safe and completely, utterly alone. And tonight, I was sitting in my penthouse looking at a Christmas tree that cost more than your monthly rent, and I realized I couldn't remember the last time I felt anything. Marcus was quiet. And then I walked into that diner, and I saw you counting quarters, and your daughter looking at you like you hung the moon. and something inside me just... She made a breaking motion with her hands. I don't know how to explain it. You don't have to. I do, though, because I need you to understand that I'm not here out of pity, or charity, or because I feel sorry for you. Then why are you here? Victoria looked around the tiny apartment with its crooked Christmas tree and refrigerator art and worn-out couch. Because this is the first place in 15 years that feels like it might be safe to be real. And I'm terrified and grateful in equal measure. Marcus set down his mug. He turned to face her fully. My wife left when Lily was 3. No warning. Just a note on the kitchen table saying she couldn't do this anymore. That being a mother was holding her back from her dreams. Victoria's heart clenched. That wasn't about Lily. I know. Logically, I know. But Lily sometimes asks why her mom didn't want her, and I don't have a good answer. His jaw tightened. I spent a year thinking I'd done something wrong. That if I'd been different better, she would have stayed. It wasn't your fault. I know that now. But after she left, I made the same decision you did. No more letting people in. No more risking my heart. And definitely no more risking Lily's heart. He reached out slowly and covered Victoria's hand with his. So when a woman in a designer coat shows up and buys us dinner and looks at my daughter like she's a miracle instead of a burden, I don't know what to do with that. What do you want to do? Marcus's thumb brushed across her knuckles. I want to believe you're different. I want to believe that sometimes people find each other exactly when they need to. I want to believe in Christmas magic the way Lily does. But I've been wrong before, and I can survive being wrong. Lily can't. Not again. Victoria turned her hand over, lacing her fingers through his. I don't know if I'm different. I don't know if I'm capable of being the person you need me to be. 15 years of walls don't come down in one night. I'm not asking them to. What are you asking? Marcus looked at her. Really looked. His hazel eyes searching hers for truth. I'm asking if you want to try. If you want to see what happens when two broken people stop running from the world and start running towards something instead. Victoria's heart was pounding so hard she could hear it. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be anything other than a CEO. I don't know how to do this either. I don't know how to trust someone again. So we're both hopeless. Completely. He smiled and it transformed his whole face. But maybe we could be hopeless together. Victoria laughed and it came out wet tears she hadn't realized she was crying streaking down her cheeks. Okay. Okay. Yes, okay, let's be hopeless together. Marcus leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. Their lips met soft, tentative questioning. First kiss in 3 years for her. First real kiss since Sarah left for him. It felt like coming home. When they finally pulled apart, Victoria was trembling. Wow, she breathed. Yeah. Marcus looked slightly dazed. Wow. They sat there on his worn couch, hands intertwined, the Christmas tree blinking its uneven rhythm in the corner. I should let you sleep, Victoria said finally. It's late. Take the couch. I'll sleep in the bedroom with Lily. Marcus, I can't take your bed. You're not taking my bed. You're taking my couch. He stood, pulling her up with him. And in the morning, Lily is going to wake up at approximately 5:30 and demand Christmas pancakes, and you're going to help me make them, and they're going to be terrible because I'm not a good cook. Victoria smiled through her tears. I can't cook at all. Then we'll be disasters together. He brought her a pillow and a blanket, both worn soft from years of use. Their hands brushed during the exchange. Good night, Victoria. Good night, Marcus. She lay awake for a long time after he left, staring at the blinking Christmas lights, listening to the quiet sounds of the apartment settling around her. For the first time in 15 years, she wasn't alone on Christmas. And she wasn't sure what terrified her more, how good that felt, or how much she wanted it to stay that way. Victoria woke to the smell of pancakes burning and the sound of giggling from the kitchen. For a confused moment, she didn't know where she was. The ceiling was wrong. The light was wrong. The sounds were wrong. Then memory flooded back. The diner. Marcus. Lily. The kiss. She sat up on the couch. Someone Marcus had covered her with an extra blanket while she slept. The gesture made her throat tighten. No, Lily, that's too much batter. Crash. More giggles. Now it's everywhere. I can see that. Victoria pushed off the blanket and padded toward the kitchen, still in yesterday's clothes, her designer dress now wrinkled beyond repair. She found them standing in a small kitchen that was more battlefield than cooking space. Marcus was covered in flour. Lily was covered in batter. The counters were covered in disaster. Miss Victoria! Lily spotted her and ran over, batter-covered hands reaching. You stayed. You're really here. I promised, didn't I? Yeah, but... Lily's face flickered with something old and wounded. Sometimes people promise and then don't stay. Victoria knelt down to Lily's level. I know, and I can't promise I'll never disappoint you because I'm not perfect. But I can promise that when I say I'll be here, I mean it. Lily studied her face with that intense 6-year-old focus. Okay. I believe you. She grabbed Victoria's hand. Now come help us. Daddy's burning everything. I am not burning everything. I'm caramelizing. That's just a fancy word for burning. Victoria laughed 3 times, now she was counting, and let herself be pulled into the chaos. They made pancakes together. Terrible ones. Misshapen ones. Ones that were too brown on one side and raw on the other. Lily pronounced each one perfect and ate them with more syrup than any human should consume. Marcus caught Victoria's eye over Lily's head. Thank you, he mouthed. For what? For staying. Victoria's heart cracked open a little further. After breakfast, Lily insisted on giving Victoria a tour of the apartment, which took approximately 4 minutes since there wasn't much to tour. This is the bathroom. The toilet makes a funny noise, but Daddy says it's fine. This is Daddy's room, but I sleep there too sometimes when I have bad dreams. This is my corner with all my art supplies. She showed Victoria her crayons organized by color, her stack of drawing paper, her collection of painted rocks, her stuffed unicorn Sparkles, who was my very best friend, except for Sophie, and also you now. Victoria's chest ached with something she couldn't name. Lily, can I tell you something? Sure. This is the best Christmas morning I've had in 15 years. Lily beamed. Really? Even better than when you were rich and had fancy stuff? Victoria looked around the tiny apartment at the crooked tree and the burned pancakes and the little girl with batter in her hair. So much better. Because this is real. And real is worth more than fancy. Lily threw her arms around Victoria's neck. I'm glad you found us, Miss Victoria. Victoria hugged her back, letting herself feel it fully, the warmth, the trust, the terrifying vulnerability of caring about someone again. Me too, Lily. Me too. That afternoon, Victoria's phone buzzed for the first time since she'd silenced it the night before. She'd almost forgotten it existed. 17 missed calls, 43 emails, 8 text messages, each more frantic than the last. Where are you? The board is asking questions. Victoria, this is urgent. Call me immediately. Rick. Always Rick. The company never slept, never paused, never gave her room to breathe. She looked at the screen, then at Marcus and Lily, who were playing Go Fish on the living room floor. Everything okay? Marcus asked. Work. You should probably... No. The word came out firm. Final. I'm not doing this today. They can wait. Marcus's eyebrows rose. Are you sure it sounds important? It always sounds important. That's the trick. Everything is urgent all the time, so you never get to live your actual life. Victoria turned off her phone completely. Today, I'm living my life. Marcus smiled slow, genuine, a little odd. I don't think I've ever seen someone turn off their phone on purpose. I don't think I've ever done it before. Lily looked up from her cards. Miss Victoria, do you have any threes? Go fish. They played cards until dinner. Then Victoria helped Marcus cook pasta, this time harder to burn, while Lily set the table with mismatched plates and folded napkins that looked more like crumpled paper. We say what we're grateful for before we eat, Lily announced. Grandma always did it. I'll go first. She closed her eyes very seriously. I'm grateful for Daddy and for Miss Victoria and for pancakes even when they're burned and for Christmas magic that brings people together. She opened her eyes and looked at Marcus. Your turn, Daddy. Marcus cleared his throat. I'm grateful for you, Lilybug, for your big heart and your bigger dreams. And I'm grateful that we have a guest this Christmas who reminds me that sometimes good things happen to people who've given up on expecting them. Lily turned to Victoria expectantly. Your turn. Victoria's eyes burned. I'm grateful for second chances, for two strangers who saw me crying in a diner and decided I was worth inviting home, for being reminded that life is supposed to feel like something, not just look like something. They ate, they laughed, they told stories. Victoria learned that Marcus had wanted to be an architect once before life intervened, that he still sketched buildings in notebooks late at night, elaborate designs he'd probably never build but couldn't stop imagining. Marcus learned that Victoria had coded NextGen's first algorithm herself in a studio apartment that smelled like ramen and ambition, that she'd been so focused on building the company that she'd forgotten to build anything else. Lily learned that Victoria had never seen Frozen, which was apparently a grave crime that needed to be remedied immediately. They watched Frozen. Lily sang every word. Marcus made popcorn. Victoria cried at the ending, which Lily found hilarious. It's a happy ending? Why are you crying? Happy tears, Victoria said, wiping her eyes. Sometimes when things are really beautiful, you cry happy tears. That's weird. I know. I like it. By 10 o'clock, Lily was asleep on the couch, her head in Marcus's lap, Sparkles the unicorn clutched to her chest. I should go, Victoria whispered. Let you put her to bed. Or you could stay. Marcus. On the couch, like last night. He met her eyes. I'm not ready for you to leave yet. Victoria's heart hammered. Me neither. Marcus carried Lily to bed. Victoria listened to their quiet goodnight ritual through the wall, the same words as last night, comfortable and worn with repetition. I love you, Daddy. I love you more. When Marcus returned, he sat beside her on the couch, closer this time, their shoulders touching. She really likes you. I really like her. She doesn't warm up to people easily, not anymore. After Sarah left. I understand. Do you? Because if you're going to be in her life even a little bit, I need you to understand that she gets attached. And if you disappear, I won't. Marcus looked at her. You say that now, but work is going to call. Life is going to get complicated. Something is going to come up that feels more important than a 6-year-old's school play or a Tuesday night dinner. Then I'll choose the school play. I'll choose Tuesday night dinner. Can you, though? You've spent 15 years choosing the other thing? Victoria took his hand. I spent 15 years running from everything that mattered because I was terrified of losing it. And you know what I learned? You can't lose what you never let yourself have, but you also can't keep it. She squeezed his fingers. I don't want to be safe anymore, Marcus. I want to be scared. I want to be invested. I want to show up for things that matter and feel it when they go wrong. That's a terrifying way to live. More terrifying than this. She gestured at the empty apartment that wasn't empty anymore. More terrifying than counting quarters and sleeping on the floor so your daughter can have a bed and still managing to offer a stranger Christmas dinner. That's different. How? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Because I didn't have a choice. This life chose me. You're choosing it. Maybe that's what makes it count. He kissed her again, deeper this time, and Victoria felt something shift in her chest, a wall coming down, a door opening a part of herself she'd locked away 15 years ago, finally beginning to breathe. When they broke apart, Marcus rested his forehead against hers. I'm scared too. Good. We can be scared together. And if it doesn't work out, then at least we'll know we tried. At least we'll know we were brave enough to want something. Marcus smiled, and in that smile, Victoria saw the future she'd stopped believing in. Not a perfect future, not an easy one, but a real one, full of burned pancakes and crooked Christmas trees, and love that showed up even when it was terrified. Okay, he said. Let's be brave together. Victoria fell asleep on his shoulder that night, the Christmas tree lights blinking their uneven rhythm, Lily's soft breathing coming through the thin walls. She dreamed of her parents for the first time in years. Not the accident, not the police officer with snow on his shoulders. Just them. Her father lifting her to place the star. Her mother laughing at the crooked tree. Make a wish, sweetheart. In her dream, Victoria closed her eyes. I wish for another chance to choose love. When she woke up on the morning of December 26th, Marcus was already in the kitchen making coffee, and Lily was drawing at the table, tongue poking out in concentration. Good morning, Miss Victoria. Lily held up her paper. I made you a picture. Victoria walked over to look. 3 stick figures holding hands, one tall with brown hair, one small with curly hair, and one with yellow hair no longer transparent, filled in solid and real. That's you, Lily said proudly. You're not empty anymore. You're in our family now. Victoria's tears fell before she could stop them. These are happy tears, she explained, though Lily hadn't asked. Very, very happy tears. And Marcus smiled at her from across the tiny kitchen, and the coffee was terrible, and the apartment was small, and none of it mattered. Because for the first time in 15 years, Victoria Hayes was home. 3 months passed like water through open fingers. Victoria had never known time could move like this fast when she wanted it, slow, achingly precious in ways her old life had never been. She found herself counting hours differently now, not by meetings and deadlines and quarterly reports, but by dinners at Marcus's apartment, by Lily's bedtime stories, by the quiet moments on the worn couch after a 6-year-old finally stopped fighting sleep. She still ran Next Gen, still showed up to board meetings in her designer suits, still answered emails at midnight and took calls from investors who thought their money bought them access to her every waking moment. But something had shifted. She left the office at 6 now instead of 10. She turned off her phone during dinner. She learned to say, that can wait until tomorrow, without her chest seizing with anxiety. And 3 times a week, sometimes 4, she drove across town to a tiny apartment that smelled like home. Miss Victoria. Lily tackled her the moment she walked through the door, arms wrapping around her waist with the full force of childhood enthusiasm. Hey, sweetheart, how was school? Amazing. We learned about butterflies and Sophie said, my drawing was the best one, and Mrs. Patterson put it on the special wall. The special wall, that's a big deal. I know I'm basically famous now. Marcus appeared from the kitchen, dish towel over his shoulder, flower on his cheek. Don't encourage her. Her ego is already dangerous. My ego is perfect, Lily announced. That's what Grandma always said. Victoria laughed and pulled off her coat, hanging it on the hook that had somehow become hers over the past 3 months. Her hook. In their apartment. Like she belonged here. The thought still made her chest tight in ways she didn't know how to name. What are we making tonight? Tacos, Marcus said. Lily's choice. Tacos are the best food, Lily informed Victoria seriously. It's been scientifically proven. By who? By me. I'm a scientist. Victoria helped cook. She'd gotten better at it over the past months. Not good exactly, but functional. She could chop vegetables without losing a finger. She could follow a recipe without setting off smoke alarms. Progress. They ate at the small table, Lily chattering about her day, Marcus catching Victoria's eye with small smiles that meant everything. "This is real," those smiles said. "This is happening. We're building something." After dinner, Lily insisted on showing Victoria her latest art project, a crayon portrait of their family, complete with a purple sky and green grass and 3 figures holding hands. "That's Daddy," Lily pointed. "And that's me. And that's you, Miss Victoria." Victoria stared at the drawing. The figure representing her was solid now, colored in completely, no longer the transparent ghost from that first picture. "It's beautiful, Lily." "I know. I'm very talented." She looked up with sudden seriousness. "Miss Victoria." "Yes." "Are you going to marry Daddy?" Victoria's breath caught. She glanced at Marcus, who had gone very still in the kitchen doorway. That's a big question, sweetheart." "I know. But Sophie's mom got married again, and now Sophie has a stepdad, and he takes her to soccer practice and buys her ice cream. And I thought maybe if you married Daddy, you could be my bonus mom." "Bonus mom." "That's what Sophie calls it. Because you're not her real mom, but you're a bonus. Like extra cheese on pizza." Victoria's eyes burned. She knelt down to Lily's level. "I don't know what's going to happen in the future, Lily. But I can tell you that being your bonus anything would be the greatest honor of my life." Lily threw her arms around Victoria's neck. "I love you, Miss Victoria." The words hit Victoria like a physical force. "I love you too, Lily." Over Lily's shoulder, she saw Marcus wiping his eyes with the dish towel, pretending he wasn't crying. That night, after Lily was asleep, they sat on the couch in their usual positions, close but not too close. Fingers intertwined, the weight of the conversation hanging between them. "She asked about marriage," Marcus said quietly. "I know. I was there." "What did you think?" "When she asked." Victoria was quiet for a long moment. I thought that 3 months ago that question would have sent me running, would have triggered every alarm I'd spent 15 years building. And now it just felt right. Like, of course that's where this is going. Like, of course I want to be part of your family." Marcus turned to face her. "Victoria, I need to tell you something." Her heart clenched. Those words never meant anything good. "What is it?" "I'm falling in love with you." He said it simply, like stating a fact. "I've been trying not to. I've been telling myself to slow down, to be careful, to remember what happened last time. But it's happening anyway, and I can't stop it, and I don't want to stop it." Victoria felt tears sliding down her cheeks. "I'm falling in love with you too." Yeah. And it terrifies me. Because every time I've loved someone, I've lost them. And the thought of losing you, losing Lily. Hey. Marcus cupped her face in his hands. "I'm not going anywhere." "You can't promise that." "I can promise I'll never leave by choice. I can promise that whatever happens, I'll fight for this, for us." Victoria kissed him, tasting salt from her own tears. "I'll fight too," she whispered against his lips. "I promise." But promises, she would learn, were easier to make than to keep. It started small. A meeting that ran late. A dinner she had to miss. A text sent at 7 p.m. instead of showing up in person. "So sorry." Investor crisis. Tomorrow Marcus understood. Of course he understood. He knew what she did, how important it was, how many people depended on her decisions. "No problem," he texted back. "Lily says hi." Then another missed dinner. And another. A week where she only saw them once for 2 hours on Sunday afternoon, before her phone started buzzing again. "Everything okay at work?" Marcus asked during that brief Sunday visit. "Fine, just busy. Q2 projections are a nightmare." "You seem stressed." "I'm always stressed. It's part of the job. He didn't push. He never pushed. That was one of the things she loved about him, his patience, his steadiness, his refusal to make demands. But Lily was not so diplomatic. "You missed my soccer game," she said one evening when Victoria finally made it to dinner. Victoria's heart sank. "I know, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. There was a meeting I couldn't reschedule." "You said you'd come." "I know, and I wanted to, but sometimes grown-up things get in the way." "Mommy said that too." Lily's voice was flat. "Before she left, she said grown-up things were more important than me." "That's not Lily. That's not what I meant. Can I be excused?" She didn't wait for an answer before running to the bedroom and closing the door. Victoria sat frozen at the table, the weight of Lily's words pressing down on her chest. "She didn't mean it like that," Marcus said quietly. "Yes, she did. And she's right." "Victoria, I promised I'd be different. I promised I'd choose her. And the first time things got hard at work, I fell right back into old patterns." Marcus reached across the table and took her hand. "One missed soccer game isn't the same as leaving. It's the same pattern, Marcus. It's always just one thing. Just one meeting. Just one crisis. Until suddenly, it's a year later, and you realize you've missed everything that mattered. Then don't let it become a year." How do I run a company and be present for her at the same time other people do it? Why can't I figure it out? Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Maybe because you're still running from something, still using work as a shield." Victoria pulled her hand back. "That's not fair." "Isn't it?" When things got hard with Lily just now, your first instinct was to defend work, not to apologize, not to figure out how to fix it, to explain why work had to come first. Because it does. Sometimes. That's the reality of being a CEO. And what's the reality of being Lily's bonus mom? The question hung in the air, sharp and painful. Victoria stood up. "I should go." "Victoria, I need to think. I'll call you tomorrow." She left without saying goodbye to Lily, without kissing Marcus, without any of the small rituals they'd built over 3 months. And as she drove back to her apartment, she felt the walls she'd been so carefully dismantling starting to rebuild themselves. April brought the crisis that changed everything. Victoria was in her office when Rick burst through the door, his face the color of old paper. "We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Hostile takeover kind of problem." Victoria's blood went cold. "Who?" "Tech Venture Capital. They've been quietly buying up shares for months. They're at 35% and climbing." "That's impossible. Our shares aren't." "They found a loophole, a group of minority shareholders who wanted out. They've been accumulating without triggering disclosure requirements." Victoria stood up, her mind racing. "How much time do we have?" "They're filing the formal offer next week. If they hit 51%, they can force a shareholder vote. And with the numbers they're showing, we lose. We lose everything. They'll strip the company for patents and technology, lay off 300 people, and sell whatever's left." 300 people. 300 families who depended on NextGen for their paychecks, their health insurance, their lives. What are our options? We fight, counteroffer, find a white knight investor. But Victoria... Rick hesitated. "This is going to be all-consuming. 18-hour days, emergency board meetings, investor calls at all hours, for at least the next 2 months, maybe 3. Victoria thought of Lily, of Marcus, of the dinner she'd promised to make tonight, the soccer game she'd sworn to attend on Saturday. "Schedule the board meeting for tonight," she heard herself say, "and get me everything you have on Tech Ventures leadership." "What about don't you have somewhere to be?" Victoria closed her eyes. "Cancel it." The next 2 months were a blur of conference rooms and legal documents and phone calls that lasted until midnight and started again at 5 a.m. Victoria stopped going to Marcus's apartment. At first she texted. Long explanations about the takeover, the stakes, the hundreds of employees whose livelihoods depended on her winning this fight. I understand, Marcus wrote back. We're here when things calm down. Then the texts got shorter. Meeting ran late. Tomorrow, can't make dinner. Next week. So sorry. We'll make it up to you. She stopped calling altogether, stopped checking her personal phone except to send brief apologies, stopped thinking about anything except the numbers, the strategy, the fight. Lily's birthday was in 3 weeks. Victoria had promised to be there, had promised to help plan the party, to pick out the cake, to be the one who handed Lily her present. The board meeting was scheduled for the same day. She told herself she'd make it work. She told herself she could do both. But when the morning came, and Rick said the meeting was non-negotiable, and the Japanese investors who might save them would only meet at 3 p.m., and Lily's party started at 4, Victoria made her choice. She sent Marcus a text at 2:30. I'm so sorry. Meeting running long. Can't make the party. Please tell Lily I love her. Marcus didn't respond for 6 hours. When he finally did, it was only 3 words. She's heartbroken. Victoria stared at her phone in her hotel room. She'd checked in because the commute to her apartment was wasting 20 minutes she couldn't afford, and felt something inside her crack. She called Marcus. I know you're angry. I'm not angry, Victoria. His voice was flat, exhausted. I'm disappointed. The meeting was critical. If we don't secure this investment. I know, you've explained. Several times. Then why do you sound like that? Like what? Like you've given up on me. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Because I'm watching the same pattern I watched with Sarah. The same excuses. The same promises. The same, just this once, that turns into every time. That's not fair. Maybe not, but it's true. You told me you'd choose us. You promised Lily you'd be there for her birthday. And when the moment came to actually keep that promise, you chose work. 300 people could lose their jobs. And one little girl lost her faith in you tonight. Marcus's voice cracked. Do you know what she said when you didn't show up? She said, I knew she wouldn't come. Nobody ever comes. Victoria's chest felt like it was being crushed. Marcus, I can't do this right now. I need to go take care of my daughter. He hung up. Victoria sat in her hotel room surrounded by legal documents and financial projections and cried harder than she had since her parents' funeral. The Japanese investors passed. After 2 months of negotiations, of sacrificing everything that mattered, of missing Lily's birthday and a dozen dinners and every moment of connection she'd been building, they passed. The regulatory environment is too uncertain, their representative said, bowing apologetically. We've decided to pursue other opportunities. Victoria sat in the conference room after everyone left, staring at the blank wall. All that sacrifice, all that loss, for nothing. Her phone buzzed. Beth, heard about the deal falling through. You okay? Victoria typed back. No. Her phone rang immediately. What happened? Beth asked. Everything. The deal fell apart. Marcus won't return my calls. I missed Lily's birthday. I've destroyed everything good in my life, and I didn't even save the company. Victoria. I did exactly what I always do. I chose work over people. I told myself it was necessary, told myself it was temporary, told myself they'd understand. And now Marcus is gone, and Lily hates me, and 300 people are still going to lose their jobs because I couldn't save them anyway. She was crying now. Ugly sobs that shook her whole body. I'm broken, Beth. I'm fundamentally broken. I don't know how to love people without destroying them. That's not true. Isn't it my parents died because they chose me over work? Sarah left Lily because she chose work over family. And I'm standing right in the middle, proving that it doesn't matter which one you choose, someone always gets hurt. Beth was quiet for a moment. Do you remember what you told me after your parents died? After the funeral, when everyone else had gone home? No. You said, I'm never going to let anyone get that close again, because losing them will kill me. Victoria closed her eyes. I remember. You built your whole life around that promise. And it worked. You didn't lose anyone because you didn't let anyone in. But Victoria, you also didn't live. You just survived. What's the difference? The difference is that surviving is counting quarters at a diner on Christmas Eve. Living is inviting a stranger home and letting her become family. Victoria thought of Marcus, of Lily, of the tiny apartment that had felt more like home than any penthouse. I think I've lost them. Have you tried getting them back? I don't know how. Yes, you do. You show up. You keep showing up. You prove that this time is different, that you can choose them even when it's hard, even when it costs you something. What if it's too late? Then at least you'll know you tried. Victoria hung up the phone. She sat in the empty conference room for a long time, staring at nothing, feeling the weight of every choice she'd ever made pressing down on her chest. Then she picked up her phone and typed a message to Rick. I'm resigning. Effective in 90 days. His response came in seconds. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. She didn't wait for his reply. She was already walking to the parking garage, already getting in her car, already driving across town to a small apartment building that felt more like home than anywhere she'd ever lived. It was 11 p.m. when she arrived. She sat in the parking lot staring at the windows on the third floor. The lights were off. They were probably asleep. She got out anyway, climbed the 3 flights of stairs that creaked under her weight, stood outside apartment 3C, knocked. Nothing. Knocked again. The door opened. Marcus stood there in sweatpants and a t-shirt, his hair messy from sleep, his eyes red like he'd been crying. Victoria, I quit. What? I quit my job. Just now. I sent Rick my resignation. 90 days and I'm done. Marcus stared at her. You can't just... That's your company. Your life's work. You were right. Victoria's voice cracked. You were right about everything. I've been using work as a shield, using it to avoid the terrifying reality of actually loving someone and risking losing them. She took a shaky breath. I missed Lily's birthday. I missed dinners and soccer games and bedtime stories. I told myself it was necessary, that I was saving jobs, that it was just temporary. And you know what? None of it mattered. The deal fell through anyway. All that sacrifice, all that loss for nothing. Marcus was quiet. I'm not asking you to forgive me, Victoria continued. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I'm asking you to let me prove that I can choose differently, that I can be the person Lily needs, that I can be the partner you deserve. Victoria, I know I've broken promises. I know I've hurt her, hurt you, and I know that words don't mean anything after what I've done. But I'm here. I'm standing in front of you at 11 p.m. telling you that I'm choosing you, both of you, over everything else. Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Then he stepped aside. Come in, we need to talk. They sat on the couch, the same couch where they'd shared their first kiss, where Victoria had slept those first 2 nights, where they'd built something beautiful before she'd torn it apart. Lily cried for an hour after her birthday party, Marcus said quietly. She kept asking why you didn't come, why you chose work over her. Victoria's heart shattered. I know. Do you? Because I'm not sure you understand what you did to her. She trusted you, Victoria. She let you in even though her mother left, even though she'd sworn she'd never trust anyone again. And you proved her worst fears true. I know. Then why? Why did you do it? Victoria stared at her hands. Because I was scared. Because saving the company felt safer than loving you. Because if I could control the outcome, if I could fix the problem through hard work and sacrifice, then I wouldn't have to face the terrifying reality that some things can't be controlled, that people leave, that love doesn't protect you from loss. She looked up at him. I've spent 15 years believing that if I just worked hard enough, if I just stayed focused enough, I could protect myself from ever feeling that kind of pain again. And when the takeover threatened everything I'd built, I fell right back into that pattern. I chose the thing I could control over the people I couldn't. Marcus was quiet for a long time. And now? Now I understand that the only way to protect yourself from loss is to never have anything worth losing. And I don't want that anymore. I want you. I want Lily. I want burned pancakes and crooked Christmas trees and a life that feels like something, even if it means risking everything. Victoria. I'm not asking you to decide tonight. I'm asking you to let me prove it. Let me earn back Lily's trust. Let me show both of you that I can choose differently. Marcus stood up and walked to the window, his back to her. When Sarah left, he said slowly, I made Lily a promise. I told her I would never let anyone hurt her like that again. I told her I would protect her, even if it meant keeping people away. He turned to face her. When I let you in, I broke that promise. I let you get close to her knowing you might hurt her. And you did. Victoria felt tears sliding down her cheeks. I know. But here's the thing. Marcus walked back to the couch and sat beside her. You came back. Sarah never came back. She walked out that door, and she never looked back. But you're here at 11 p.m. telling me you quit your job and you're ready to fight for us. I am. That doesn't fix what you did. It doesn't undo the hurt. I know. But it's a start. He took her hand. If you're serious, if you're really willing to put us first, then we can try again. But Victoria, I need you to understand something. Anything. If you break another promise to Lily, we're done. Not because I want to punish you, but because I can't watch her go through that again. She's a child. She can't keep rebuilding her trust just to have it demolished. I understand. Do you really? Victoria met his eyes. Yes, and I promise you, I promise both of you, I won't let you down again. Marcus studied her face for a long moment. Whatever he found there must have been enough because his shoulders finally relaxed. Okay, we try again. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You have a lot of work to do. I know. Victoria squeezed his hand. But this is the kind of work I want to do. This is the only work that matters. They sat together in silence as the clock ticked past midnight. And somewhere in the tiny bedroom, Lily stirred in her sleep, dreaming of a family that was still broken, but might have a chance of being whole again. The hardest conversation came the next morning. Victoria arrived at 8, before Lily woke up. She and Marcus sat at the small kitchen table with coffee, neither of them touched, rehearsing what to say, how to say it, knowing that words could only do so much. She's going to be angry, Marcus warned. I know. She might not forgive you right away. I know that too. And you can't push her. She needs to come to it on her own timeline. Victoria nodded, her hands wrapped around the cold mug. Marcus? Yeah. Thank you for giving me another chance. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when you've earned it. The bedroom door opened. Lily walked out in her unicorn pajamas, rubbing sleep from her eyes. She stopped dead when she saw Victoria at the table. What are you doing here? The flatness in her voice cut deeper than any accusation. I came to talk to you, sweetheart, if that's okay. Lily looked at her father. Daddy. It's okay, Lilybug. Miss Victoria wants to tell you something. You don't have to say anything back if you don't want to. Lily hesitated. Then she walked to the table and climbed into her usual chair, keeping her eyes on the table, not looking at Victoria. I'm listening. Victoria took a breath. I missed your birthday party, and I'm sorry. Silence. I know sorry doesn't fix it. I know I made you a promise and I broke it. And I know that I'm not the first person to do that to you. Lily's jaw tightened. I'm not going to make excuses, Victoria continued. I'm not going to tell you that work was more important because it wasn't. Nothing is more important than you. I just forgot that for a while. Why? The question was small-wounded. Because I was scared. Because loving people feels dangerous to me. When I was 17, I lost my parents on Christmas night, and I decided that if I never let anyone get close to me again, I would never have to feel that kind of pain. Lily looked up, her eyes wet. Your parents died? In a car accident. They were coming home to surprise me, and there was ice on the road and... Victoria's voice cracked. And I never got to say goodbye. Lily was quiet for a long moment. My mommy left. She said she didn't want to be a mommy anymore. I know, sweetheart. Your daddy told me. Did she die? No. She just made a choice. To leave me? Yes. Lily's lower lip trembled. Is that why you left too? Because you didn't want to be my bonus mom anymore? Victoria's heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. No, Lily. No, that's not what happened at all. She reached across the table, hesitated, then pulled back. I wanted to be there. I wanted to see you blow out your candles and open your presents and eat too much cake. But I made a mistake. I let something that felt urgent become more important than something that actually mattered. Work. Yes, work. Work is always more important to grown-ups. It shouldn't be, and I'm going to prove to you that it doesn't have to be. Lily studied her with those two old eyes. How? I quit my job. Lily blinked. You did? Yesterday. I told them I'm leaving in 3 months. After that, I won't be a CEO anymore. I'll just be me. Why? Because being a CEO was making it impossible to be the person I want to be. The person who shows up for birthday parties. The person who reads bedtime stories. The person who chooses you. Lily was quiet for a long time. Victoria could see her processing, weighing, deciding whether to trust again. My mommy never came back, Lily finally said. She said she would, and she didn't. I know. How do I know you won't do that? You don't. Victoria's voice was steady, despite the tears streaming down her face. I can't prove it to you with words. I can only prove it with time, by showing up day after day until you believe me. And if you don't, if you break another promise, then your daddy said we're done, and I'll have to live with that. Lily looked at her father. Daddy, Marcus nodded. That's what I told her, Lilybug. No more second chances after this one. Lily turned back to Victoria. Her small face was impossible to read. Okay. Okay. You can try, but I'm going to be watching. I understand. And I'm still mad at you. That's fair. And I don't forgive you yet. That's fair too. Lily slid off her chair and walked to Victoria. She stood there small and serious, her unicorn pajamas slightly too big. But I missed you, she said quietly. Even when I was mad, I missed you. Victoria opened her arms, not expecting anything, just offering. Lily hesitated. Then she stepped forward and let herself be held. I missed you too, sweetheart. So much. Over Lily's shoulder, Victoria caught Marcus's eye. He was crying silently, wiping his face with his sleeve. 1 step forward, 1,000 more to go. The next 3 months were a study in consistency. Victoria showed up. Every day, every promise, every small moment that Lily needed to see. She left NextGen at 5. She turned off her phone at 6. She learned Lily's schedule by heart, school pickup at 3:15, piano lessons on Wednesday, soccer practice on Saturday. She never missed. Not once. At first, Lily kept her distance. Polite, but guarded, watching Victoria like she was waiting for the other shoe to drop. You came to practice, Lily said one Saturday, genuinely surprised. I said I would. I know, but... Lily shrugged. People say things. I'm not people. I'm me. And when I say I'll be somewhere, I'll be there. Lily didn't respond, but Victoria caught her smiling during the second half of the game. 2 weeks later, Victoria was helping with homework when Lily looked up from her math problems. "Miss Victoria." "Yes." "Can you come to my school play?" "It's in December. I'm going to be Dorothy." Victoria's heart swelled. "I would love to." "What day?" "December 20th. It's a Friday." Victoria pulled out her phone and made a show of adding it to her calendar. "December 20th. School play. Dorothy. I'll be there." "Promise?" "Promise." Lily studied her face. "Okay, I believe you." It was the first time she'd said that since the birthday party. Progress. Meanwhile, Victoria navigated her exit from NextGen with a mix of grief and relief. 10 years of her life condensed into 90 days of transition documents and handover meetings and board presentations that felt increasingly like someone else's life. Rick didn't understand. "You're walking away from millions. I'm walking toward something worth more." "This is insane, Victoria. You built this company from nothing. And now someone else will take it forward. The company will survive without me. The question is whether I'll survive without everything else." She recommended her COO as replacement, helped him understand the culture, the investors, the delicate balance of egos and ambitions that kept a tech company running. And every evening, she drove to Marcus's apartment and helped make dinner. "You're different," Marcus said one night after Lily was asleep. "Different how?" "Lighter, less like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders." Victoria considered this. "I spent 10 years believing I was indispensable, that if I stepped away, everything would collapse. But you know what happened when I announced my resignation." "What?" "The stock price went up 2%. Marcus laughed. "I'm serious. 2%. Apparently, investors thought I was overworking myself and the company would be more stable with someone less intense." "How do you feel about that?" "Honestly relieved. Turns out I'm not as important as I thought I was. Turns out the world keeps spinning whether or not I'm there to push it." Marcus reached over and took her hand. "You're important to us." "That's different." "Is it?" Victoria looked at him. This man who taught her that love wasn't dangerous, that opening your heart wasn't weakness, that the best things in life couldn't be bought or controlled or scheduled into quarterly objectives. "Yeah," she said softly. "It's different, because you actually see me, not the CEO, not the company, just me. I like just you." "I'm starting to like her too." They sat in comfortable silence, the apartment settling around them. "I want to ask you something," Marcus said. "Anything. After your 90 days are up, what happens then?" "I've been thinking about that. I want to do consulting, but not the corporate kind. There are nonprofits that need tech expertise, but can't afford big firms. I could help them, make a difference without losing my soul." "That sounds amazing." "It sounds terrifying. I've never done anything without knowing exactly where it would lead. This feels like jumping off a cliff. Sometimes that's the only way to learn you can fly." Victoria smiled. "When did you get so wise? Raising a 6-year-old. You learn things." "Like what?" "Like nothing is as scary as it seems. Like most problems can be solved with snacks and naps. Like love isn't something you feel, it's something you do over and over, even when you're tired, even when it's hard." Victoria leaned her head on his shoulder. "I love you, Marcus." "I love you too." They stayed like that until Victoria had to leave, until the night pressed in and real life resumed. But something had shifted. The cliff didn't seem so scary anymore. December 20th arrived. Victoria woke up at 6 a.m., immediately checked her calendar, and felt her heart rate spike. School play. Dorothy. 6 p.m. She'd cleared the entire day. No meetings. No calls. No emergencies. Rick had strict instructions not to contact her unless the building was literally on fire. She spent the morning helping Marcus prep the celebration dinner they'd planned for after the show. Lily's favorite spaghetti with meatballs, garlic bread, and chocolate cake for dessert. "You're nervous," Marcus observed. Is it obvious? You've checked your phone 15 times in the last hour. I'm not checking for work. I'm checking the time. Still nervous. Victoria stopped pacing and forced herself to sit down. What if something goes wrong? What if there's traffic? What if... Victoria! Marcus took her hands. The school is 10 minutes away. The show starts at 6. It's currently 11 a.m. You have 7 hours. I know. This is important. I know it is. If I mess this up, you won't. But if I do, you won't. He squeezed her hands. Because you're not the same person who missed her birthday. You've spent 3 months proving that. Lily sees it. I see it. You just need to see it yourself. Victoria took a shaky breath. Okay. You're right. I'm being ridiculous. You're being human. There's a difference. At 4 p.m., Victoria drove to the apartment to pick up Marcus. At 4:30, they picked up Lily from the school's backstage area where she was getting into her Dorothy costume with the other kids. You're here, Lily said, her face splitting into a grin. I'm here. You're really here. I told you I would be. Lily threw her arms around Victoria's waist. I believed you, but I was still a little scared. I know, sweetheart, but I'm here. And I'm going to be in the front row watching you be the best Dorothy this school has ever seen. What if I forget my lines? Then you make something up. The audience won't know the difference. Lily laughed. That's what Daddy said. Your daddy is very smart. I know. He's the smartest person I know. Except maybe you. Victoria's heart swelled. Go get ready. We'll be watching. Lily ran off to join her classmates, her Dorothy dress swirling behind her. Marcus and Victoria found seats in the front row. The auditorium was filling up with parents and grandparents, everyone clutching phones to record their children's performances. She's going to be amazing, Victoria said. She's going to forget at least half her lines. She's still going to be amazing. Marcus laughed and put his arm around her. Yeah, she is. The lights dimmed, the curtain rose, and there was Lily standing center stage in her blue checkered dress, clutching a stuffed dog that was supposed to be Toto. Toto, she said, her voice loud and clear. I've a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. Victoria cried through the entire performance. She cried when Lily sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Slightly off key, but with so much heart, it didn't matter. She cried when Lily forgot her lines and made something up that was actually funnier than the original. She cried when Lily clicked her ruby slippers together and said, "There's no place like home," with such conviction that the whole audience held their breath. And when the curtain fell and the applause thundered through the auditorium, Victoria was on her feet before anyone else cheering so loud her voice cracked. Lily found them afterwards still in costume, her face flushed with excitement and relief. Did you see me? Did you see? I saw everything, sweetheart. You were incredible. I forgot the part about the Tin Man's heart. You improvised. It was better than the original. Really. Really. Lily's face grew suddenly serious. Miss Victoria. Yes. Thank you for coming. I wouldn't have missed it for anything. I know. Lily smiled, and it was like watching the sun break through clouds. I know you wouldn't. That's why I love you. Victoria dropped to her knees and pulled Lily into a hug. I love you too, Lily. So much. Over Lily's shoulder, she saw Marcus watching them, tears streaming down his face. Come on, Victoria said, pulling back. Let's go home and have spaghetti. And chocolate cake. And chocolate cake. Best night ever. They walked out of the auditorium together, Marcus on one side, Victoria on the other, Lily between them holding both their hands, just like families do. That night, after Lily was in bed and the dishes were done, and the leftover cake was wrapped in the fridge, Victoria and Marcus sat on the couch in their usual positions. You did it, Marcus said quietly. Did what? Proved yourself. Not just to Lily. To yourself. Victoria was quiet for a moment. I was terrified all day. Part of me kept waiting for something to go wrong, for work to call with an emergency, for traffic to make me late, for the universe to prove that I couldn't really change. But it didn't. No, it didn't. Marcus turned to face her. Victoria, I need to tell you something. Her heart stuttered. What? When you walked out after Lily's birthday, I didn't think you'd come back. I thought that was it, another person who'd decided we weren't worth the effort. Marcus, let me finish. When you showed up at 11 p.m. and told me you'd quit your job, I didn't believe you. I thought it was guilt talking. Heat of the moment. That you'd change your mind in the morning. I almost did, Victoria admitted. About 15 times. But you didn't. No. Why not? Victoria considered the question. Because every time I thought about going back, I pictured Lily's face, the drawing she made where I was transparent, the way she looked at me at her birthday party when I wasn't there. And I realized that no amount of success, no amount of money, no amount of being in control was worth making that little girl feel invisible. She took his hand. I spent 15 years believing that work was the only safe place. That if I just kept achieving, kept building, kept being indispensable, I'd never have to feel the pain of losing someone again. But you know what I realized? What? I lost my parents 20 years ago, and I've been grieving ever since. Not because I loved them, but because I never let myself love anyone else. I've been keeping myself half dead to avoid the possibility of dying all the way. Marcus squeezed her hand. And now I'm choosing to live. Really live. Even if it means risking everything. He kissed her, then deep and real, and Victoria felt something unlock in her chest. The last wall, the final defense crumbling to dust. When they broke apart, Marcus rested his forehead against hers. I have something to ask you. What? It's too soon. I know it's too soon. We've only been back together for 3 months, and everything is still fragile. Marcus. What? Ask me. He pulled back and looked at her. Move in with us. Victoria blinked. What? I know it's crazy. I know your apartment is nicer and bigger and actually has an elevator that works. But Lily asked me this morning if you were going to live with us forever, and I didn't know what to say, and... Yes. Marcus stopped mid-sentence. Yes. Yes, I'll move in with you. Just like that. Just like that. Victoria smiled. I've spent enough of my life overthinking everything. Some things you just know. Your apartment is a place where I sleep. This is home. Marcus's eyes were wet. You're sure? I've never been more sure of anything. He pulled her into a hug so tight she could barely breathe. I love you, Victoria. I love you too. Both of you. From the bedroom, a small voice called out, Are you guys being mushy again? They both laughed. Go to sleep, Lilybug, Marcus called back. I can't sleep if you're being mushy. Victoria stood up. I'll go tuck her in. She walked to the bedroom and found Lily sitting up in bed, sparkles clutched to her chest. You're still here, Lily said. I'm still here. Are you going to be here tomorrow? Yes. And the day after? Yes. And forever. Victoria sat on the edge of the bed. I'm going to move in with you and your daddy. Is that okay? Lily's eyes went huge. For real? For real? Lily launched herself at Victoria, knocking her backward. Best Christmas present ever. Christmas is still a week away, sweetheart. This is my early present. Santa told me. Victoria laughed and held her close. Time for sleep, Dorothy. Will you read me a story first? Of course. Victoria read The Night Before Christmas, the same book from their first night together, the pages worn soft from years of love. By the time she reached the last line, Lily's eyes were closed. I love you, Miss Victoria, Lily murmured. I love you too, sweetheart. Sleep now. Victoria walked back to the living room, where Marcus was waiting. "She okay?" "She's perfect." They sat together on the couch, planning where Victoria's things would go, how they'd rearrange the bedroom, whether they needed a bigger bed. Outside, snow began to fall, and for the first time in 20 years, Victoria looked forward to Christmas. Victoria moved in on December 23rd. It took exactly 1 carload. She stood in the parking lot of her old apartment building, looking at the boxes in her trunk clothes. A few books, some photographs, Sparkles the unicorn that Lily had insisted she keep. That was it. 32 years of life condensed into a single trip. "You okay?" Marcus asked, helping her load the last box. "I spent 10 years accumulating things, expensive things, designer things, things that were supposed to prove I'd made it." Victoria looked at the boxes. "And this is all that actually matters. We can go back for more if you want. There's nothing else I want." They drove across town in comfortable silence, Lily bouncing in the back seat. "Which room is going to be Miss Victoria's?" Lily asked for the 4th time. "She's sharing my room, Lilybug. We talked about this. But where will her stuff go? We'll figure it out. What if there's not enough room? Then we'll make room. What if—" "Lily!" Victoria turned around to face her. "I don't need much room, just enough space to be with you and your daddy. That's all I've ever wanted." Lily grinned. "Okay, but I'm helping you unpack." "Deal." Unpacking took 20 minutes. Lily insisted on organizing Victoria's clothes by color, which resulted in a system that made no logical sense, but made Lily extremely proud. "See, now you can find everything. Lily, my black sweater is between my yellow shirt and my purple dress. Black goes with everything, so it can go anywhere." Victoria looked at Marcus, who was trying very hard not to laugh. "She has a point," he said. "She has chaos. There's a difference." "Chaos is creative," Lily announced. "That's what Mrs. Patterson says." Victoria surrendered. Some battles weren't worth fighting. That night, they had dinner at the small table that was now crowded with 3 place settings instead of 2. The apartment felt different with Victoria's things scattered throughout her coffee mug on the counter, her jacket on the hook, her shoes by the door next to Marcus's work boots, and Lily's pink rain boots. "It looks like you live here," Lily observed. "I do live here now, sweetheart." "I know, but now it looks like it too." Lily beamed. "That's even better." After dinner, they decorated Christmas cookies. Victoria had never decorated a Christmas cookie in her life, but Lily was a patient teacher. "More sprinkles, Miss Victoria. You're being stingy." "I think this is a reasonable amount of sprinkles." "There's no such thing as a reasonable amount of sprinkles. More is always more." Marcus watched them with an expression Victoria was learning to recognize wonder mixed with disbelief, like he still couldn't quite accept that this was his life now. "What?" Victoria asked, catching his eye. "Nothing, just happy." "That's not nothing." "No, I guess it's not." Christmas Eve arrived with fresh snow and the kind of cold that made you grateful for warm apartments and warmer people. Victoria woke up early before Marcus. She lay in the bed that was now theirs, listening to the sounds of the building settling the distant traffic, Marcus's steady breathing beside her. 1 year ago, she'd been standing in a penthouse throwing her phone at a painting so lonely she couldn't breathe. Now she was here. The door creaked open. Lily's face appeared in the gap, her eyes huge with excitement. "Is it Christmas yet?" "Almost, sweetheart. Christmas Eve." "Can I come in?" Victoria lifted the blanket. Lily scrambled onto the bed and wedged herself between them, all elbows and cold feet, and barely contained energy. "Oof." Marcus woke up with a grunt. "What time is it?" "Christmas time." "It's not Christmas yet, Lilybug. It's Christmas Eve. That's basically Christmas." "That's like saying Friday is basically Saturday." "It is basically Saturday." Victoria laughed. This was her life now. Early mornings and cold feet and arguments about the calendar. She wouldn't trade it for anything. They got up and made pancakes better than the first ones, though still slightly lopsided. Lily helped mix the batter while Marcus handled the griddle, and Victoria set the table with the mismatched plates that had become hers now too. "I want to do something today," Victoria said over breakfast. "What kind of something?" "I want to go back to the Golden Spoon, where we first met." Lily's face lit up. "The diner where Daddy couldn't afford hot chocolate." "Where your daddy counted quarters, yes." Marcus's ears turned slightly pink. "That's not exactly how I'd describe it." "It's exactly how I'd describe it. And I want to go back, to see Donna, to remember how far we've come." Marcus looked at her for a long moment. "Okay, let's go." The Golden Spoon hadn't changed. Same steamed windows, same flickering neon sign, same smell of coffee and bacon grease, and something sweet from the pie case. Donna looked up when they walked in, and her face split into a grin. "Well, well, well, if it isn't my favorite Christmas miracle." "You remember us?" "Honey, I've been doing this job for 32 years. I remember every single couple who fell in love at my counter." She winked at Lily. "And every single matchmaker who made it happen." Lily giggled. "Can I have hot chocolate?" "You can have whatever you want, sweetheart, on the house." They slid into the same booth where they'd eaten that first night. Victoria on one side, Marcus and Lily on the other. The same Christmas music played from the speakers. The same lights blinked in the windows. But everything was different. "I was so scared that night," Victoria said quietly. "I'd spent 15 years building walls, and suddenly there you were counting quarters, and I didn't know what to do except throw money at the problem." "I thought you were crazy," Marcus admitted. "Beautiful stranger in a designer coat buying dinner for strangers. I kept waiting for the catch." "There was no catch." "I know that now, but back then—" He shook his head. "I'd been let down so many times. I couldn't imagine someone choosing us without wanting something in return." Lily looked between them. What did Miss Victoria want? Marcus smiled. She wanted to not be alone on Christmas. That's sad? It was. But she's not alone anymore. Lily nodded seriously. Because she has us now. That's right, sweetheart. She has us. Donna brought their food the same order as that first night. Hot chocolate for Lily, coffee for the adults, pancakes and burgers and pie to share. "You know," Donna said, setting down the plates, "I've seen a lot of people come through these doors over the years. Some of them are running from something. Some of them are looking for something. Some of them are just lost." She looked at Victoria. "You were all three that night. I could see it in your eyes. But you were also brave enough to let someone in. And that's the hardest thing in the world, letting people see you when you're broken." Victoria's eyes burned. "Thank you for staying open late that night." "Honey, I stay open every Christmas Eve, because you never know when someone's going to walk through that door and need a miracle." Donna smiled. "Sometimes the miracle is a hot meal. Sometimes it's hot chocolate with 3 marshmallows. And sometimes it's finding your family in the most unexpected place." She left them to eat, and Victoria blinked back tears. "Are you okay, Miss Victoria?" Lily asked. "I'm more than okay, sweetheart. I'm happy." Happy tears. Very happy tears. They ate slowly, savoring every bite, talking about everything and nothing. About Lily's school play. About Marcus's plans to finally get his architecture certification. About Victoria's consulting work with nonprofits. About the future they were building together one day at a time. When they finished, Victoria asked for the check. Donna brought it with a knowing smile. Victoria looked at the total, then looked at Marcus. "Do you remember what you had that first night before I interfered?" "Hot chocolate and toast. It was all I could afford." $4.73. "You remember the exact amount." "I remember everything about that night." She pulled out her wallet and left a $100 tip on a $30 check. "Merry Christmas, Donna. Thank you for everything." Donna's eyes went wet. "You take care of this family, you hear? They're special." "I know. I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving I know." They walked out into the snow, Lily between them, holding both their hands. "This is how families walk," Lily said, repeating what she'd told Victoria that first night. "Together." Victoria squeezed her hand. "Always together." That evening they had a visitor. Mrs. Chen from apartment 4D knocked on the door with a plate of homemade dumplings and a suspicious look at Victoria. "You're still here," she observed. "Still here, Mrs. Chen." The elderly woman studied her with sharp eyes. "I told Marcus when he first brought you home that you wouldn't last. Too fancy, too busy, too much like the other one." Victoria felt Marcus tense beside her. "And now?" Victoria asked calmly. Mrs. Chen was quiet for a long moment. "Now I think maybe I was wrong." She handed over the dumplings. "Don't make me regret saying that." "I won't, Mrs. Chen. I promise." We'll see." But there was a warmth in her eyes that hadn't been there before. "Merry Christmas, all of you." After she left, Lily grabbed Victoria's hand. "Mrs. Chen likes you now." "I think she tolerates me, sweetheart. That's different." "No, she likes you. She only brings dumplings to people she likes. She told me." Victoria looked at Marcus. "Is that true?" "Mrs. Chen hasn't brought anyone dumplings since my mom was alive." Victoria stared at the plate in her hands. "Oh. Yeah. Oh." They ate the dumplings for dinner, along with the leftover Christmas cookies and some reheated pizza that Lily insisted was a balanced meal because pizza has vegetables on it. After dinner, they decorated the Christmas tree together. The same crooked tree from last year, the same paper snowflakes and popcorn strings, the same cardboard star painted gold with shedding glitter. But this year, Victoria helped. She hung ornaments and strung lights and listened to Lily explain the history of every single decoration. "This one is from when I was 3. See how messy it is? I wasn't very good at art yet." "You're still not very good at art," Marcus teased. "I am excellent at art. Miss Victoria, tell him I'm excellent at art." "You're excellent at art, Lily. See? She's biased. She's correct." They finished decorating as the clock struck 9. Lily was fighting to keep her eyes open, her excitement about Christmas morning warring with exhaustion. "Time for bed, Lilybug." "But I'm not tired." "Your eyes are closed." "I'm resting them." Victoria knelt down. "Lily, the sooner you go to sleep, the sooner Christmas morning comes." Lily considered this logic. "Okay, but you have to read me a story." "Of course." The Night Before Christmas 1. Our favorite. Victoria carried Lily to bed, Marcus following behind. They tucked her in together, Marcus on one side, Victoria on the other, and Victoria pulled out the worn book with its soft cover and cracked spine. "'Twas the night before Christmas," she began, when all through the house. By the time she reached the last line, Lily was asleep. Sparkles clutched to her chest. Victoria kissed her forehead. "Merry Christmas, sweetheart." "Merry Christmas, Lilybug," Marcus whispered. They slipped out quietly, leaving the door cracked so the hallway light could chase away any bad dreams. Back in the living room, Marcus pulled Victoria onto the couch beside him. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For what?" "For staying. For proving me wrong. For loving my daughter like she's your own." "She is my own, maybe not by blood, but by choice, and choice is stronger than blood." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Will you marry me?" Victoria's heart stopped. "What?" Marcus pulled a small box from his pocket. Inside was a ring, simple, elegant, nothing like the massive diamonds Victoria had seen on the fingers of board members' wives. "I've been carrying this around for 2 weeks," Marcus said, "waiting for the right moment, and then I realized there's no perfect moment. There's just us. Here. Now. And I don't want to wait anymore." "Marcus," I know it's fast. I know we've only been back together for a few months. I know there are 1,000 reasons to wait to be careful to make sure this is real." He looked at her, his hazel eyes bright with love and fear and hope. "But I've spent enough of my life being careful. I've spent enough time protecting myself from the possibility of getting hurt. And you know what I've learned?" "What?" "That being careful doesn't prevent pain. It just prevents joy. And I'd rather have joy and pain together than nothing at all." Victoria was crying now, tears streaming down her face. "Yes. Yes. Yes. 1,000 times yes." Marcus slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. He kissed her then, deep and real, and Victoria felt the last piece of her broken heart finally click into place. "I love you, Victoria." "I love you too, Marcus. More than I ever thought I could love anyone." From the bedroom, a small voice called out, "Are you being mushy again?" They both laughed. "Go to sleep, Lilybug." "I can't sleep when you're being mushy." Victoria stood up. "I'll go talk to her." She walked to the bedroom and found Lily sitting up, very clearly not sleeping. "Lily, you're supposed to be asleep." "I heard Daddy ask you something." Victoria's heart stuttered. "You did?" "Are you going to marry him?" "Yes, sweetheart. I am." Lily's face broke into the biggest smile Victoria had ever seen. "Does that mean you're going to be my mom now?" Victoria sat on the edge of the bed. "I would be honored to be your mom, Lily, if you want me to be." "I do. I've wanted it forever." Lily threw her arms around Victoria's neck. "This is the best Christmas present ever. Better than the bike your daddy got you. Way better. Bikes can't read bedtime stories." Victoria laughed through her tears. "No, I suppose they can't." "Will you still read to me, even when you're my real mom?" "I'll read to you every night, sweetheart. For as long as you want me to. Forever. Forever." Lily pulled back and looked at her with those two old eyes. "Miss Victoria." "Yes." "Thank you for not leaving. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for choosing us." Victoria's heart shattered and rebuilt itself in the same moment. "Thank you for letting me in, Lily. Thank you for teaching me that love isn't dangerous, it's the only thing worth risking everything for." She tucked Lily back into bed, kissed her forehead, and walked back to the living room where Marcus was waiting. She heard. And she's very happy. She says I'm better than a bike." Marcus laughed. "High praise. The highest." They sat on the couch together, Victoria's hand heavy with the ring that changed everything. "So, what now?" Marcus asked. "Now we get married. We raise Lily together. We build a life that matters." "That simple?" "That simple." Victoria smiled. "I spent 15 years making everything complicated. Turns out the best things in life are actually pretty straightforward." "Like what?" "Like showing up. Like keeping promises. Like choosing love even when it's scary." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "Like finding your family in a diner on Christmas Eve and having the courage to let them in." The clock struck midnight. "Merry Christmas, Victoria." "Merry Christmas, Marcus." From the bedroom, Lily's voice rang out one final time. "Merry Christmas, everyone." They were married in March at the Golden Spoon. Donna had insisted, refusing to take no for an answer. "This is where your story started," she'd said. "Only right it's where you celebrate the next chapter." The guest list was small. Mrs. Chen Beth, a few neighbors from the building. Lily's teacher, Mrs. Patterson, who'd become a friend over the past months. No investors, no board members, no one from Victoria's old life. Just family. Lily was the flower girl, scattering rose petals with the seriousness of a surgeon performing delicate surgery. "Not too many at once, Lilybug," Marcus whispered. "I'm being strategic, Daddy. You're being bossy." "Same thing." Victoria wore a simple white dress, nothing like the designer gown she'd once imagined for her theoretical wedding. Marcus wore a suit he'd bought second-hand and tailored himself. Donna had decorated the diner with white lights and wildflowers that smelled like spring. It was perfect. Their vows were simple. "I promise to show up," Victoria said. "Every day, for school plays and soccer games and burned pancakes and bedtime stories. I promise to choose you both over and over for the rest of my life." "I promise to believe you when you choose us," Marcus said. "To trust that we're worth staying for. To build a life where all our dreams fit together instead of compete." Lily had her own vows, which she'd written herself and practiced with Mrs. Chen. "I promise to always tell you when you're being mushy, and to remind you that family is the best thing ever, and to let you kiss even though it's gross because you love each other and that's important." Everyone laughed through their tears. When the officiant pronounced them married, Lily cheered so loud the glasses on the counter rattled. They ate wedding cake that Donna had made herself. They danced to music from the old radio. They celebrated until the sun went down and Lily fell asleep in a booth, still wearing her flower girl dress. Mrs. Chen pulled Victoria aside near the end of the evening. "You proved me wrong," the old woman said. "I tried my best." "You did more than try. You stayed. You fought. You chose them when it would have been easier to choose yourself." Mrs. Chen's eyes were suspiciously bright. "That girl's mother never did any of those things." "I'm not her mother." "No, you're something better. You're the mother she chose." Mrs. Chen squeezed her hand. "Take care of them, Victoria. They deserve to be happy." "I know. So do I." Mrs. Chen smiled, a rare and precious thing. "Yes, you do too." 2 years later, Victoria stood at the window of their new house, a modest 3-bedroom they'd saved for together, watching snow fall on Christmas Eve. Behind her, Marcus and Lily were in the kitchen attempting to make sugar cookies. The smoke alarm had already gone off twice. "Daddy, you're burning them again." "I'm caramelizing." "That's just a fancy word for burning." Victoria smiled. Some things never changed. Her phone buzzed. A text from Rick, who still reached out occasionally. "NextGen hit record profits this quarter. You'd be proud." She typed back, "I am proud. But I'm also happy. And it turns out you can't buy that." She set the phone down and walked to the kitchen, where Lily, now 8, was covered in flour, and Marcus was attempting to salvage a tray of blackened cookies. "Can I help? Please." Lily grabbed her hand. "Daddy is hopeless." "I am not hopeless. I am learning." "You've been learning for 2 years." Victoria laughed and took over the cookie decorating while Marcus handled the oven. They worked together in comfortable chaos, bumping into each other in the small kitchen, laughing at their mistakes, creating memories that would last long after the cookies were eaten. After dinner spaghetti again, Lily's eternal favorite, they decorated the Christmas tree. A real tree this year, slightly crooked, covered in ornaments they'd collected together. The paper snowflakes from that first apartment. The ceramic star Lily had made in art class. A small picture frame with their wedding photo, and at the very top, the cardboard star painted gold with shedding glitter. "That star is falling apart," Marcus observed. "That star is perfect," Victoria said. "Don't you dare replace it." "I'm just saying. That star was the first beautiful thing I saw when you brought me home. It's staying forever." Marcus kissed her forehead. "Forever it is." They sat on the couch, their couch now in their house with their daughter, and watched the tree lights blink their uneven rhythm. "Mama." Lily's voice was sleepy. Victoria's heart still swelled every time she heard that word. "Yes, sweetheart." "Can you tell me the story again, about how you found us? Don't you know it by heart by now?" "I do, but I like hearing you tell it." Victoria pulled Lily closer. "Once upon a time, there was a woman who had everything except the one thing that mattered. She had money and success and a penthouse that could fit 10 of the apartment where she learned what love really meant. Lily snuggled against her. And then what happened? Then on Christmas Eve, she walked into a diner because she couldn't stand being alone anymore. And she saw a man counting quarters to buy his daughter hot chocolate. And she saw a little girl with a missing front tooth who looked at the world like it was full of magic. That's me. That's you. And the woman did something she'd never done before she let someone in. She bought them dinner, and they invited her home, and she discovered that the thing she'd been running from her whole life love connection family was the thing she needed most. And then you married Daddy. And then I married your daddy. And now we're a family forever. Victoria kissed the top of Lily's head. Forever and ever. Later that night, after Lily was asleep and the house was quiet, Victoria and Marcus sat together on the couch, watching the snow fall outside. Happy, Marcus asked. More than I ever thought possible. Any regrets? Victoria thought about the penthouse, the company, the $60 million she'd walked away from. About the 15 years of walls and loneliness, and believing that success was the same as safety. Only one. Marcus tensed. What? I wish I'd found you sooner. I wish I hadn't wasted so many years being afraid. Marcus relaxed, pulling her closer. You found us when you were ready. That's what matters. I almost didn't, though. I almost walked past that diner. But you didn't. No, I didn't. They sat in silence, watching the snow pile up outside. I love you, Victoria. I love you too, Marcus. Thank you for saving me. You saved yourself. I just gave you somewhere to land. Victoria thought about that, about all the choices that had led her here. The choice to walk into a diner. The choice to buy dinner for strangers. The choice to let down her walls. The choice to stay, to fight to prove she could be different. All those choices stacked on top of each other like bricks, building something she'd never dared to imagine. A home, a family, a life that actually mattered. Merry Christmas, Marcus. Merry Christmas, Victoria. The clock struck midnight. Outside, snow continued to fall on a world that was cold and beautiful and full of possibility. And inside, in a modest house with a crooked Christmas tree and burned sugar cookies, and a daughter who talked too much and loved too freely. Victoria Hayes finally understood what her father had meant all those years ago. Make a wish, sweetheart, whatever matters most to you. She'd wished for her family to be together forever, and now, 20 years later, she finally had one. Not the family she was born into, that one was gone, carried away by ice and grief and a Christmas night that had shattered everything. But a family she'd chosen. A family that had chosen her back. A family built not on blood or obligation, but on the simple, terrifying, magnificent decision to show up and keep showing up even when it was hard, even when it hurt, even when every instinct screamed to run. That was the real Christmas miracle, Victoria realized. Not the magic of one night, but the magic of every night after. The magic of ordinary days strung together like lights on a tree. The magic of promises kept and trust rebuilt, and love chosen over and over again. The best Christmas gifts weren't wrapped in paper. They were wrapped in courage, in vulnerability, in the decision to let someone into your life who might just save you. Victoria held her family close as the snow fell and the night deepened and another year drew to a close. And for the first time in her life, she wasn't afraid of what came next. Because whatever it was, she wouldn't face it alone. Never again.